Hi, Representative Downey. I met you at the Capitol. I was during lobby days for Education Minnesota, and I just wanted to say that right now it's really, really serious that we've had a state shut down for so long. And I know that sometimes we all have principles, but it's getting to a point where it's making the state look bad. There are a lot of people that are suffering, and it's just not our state. People are going to need to change a little bit and compromise a little bit. I know that Governor Dayton has offered to raise taxes on I've been hearing so many figures, but I know Dayton has said that he'd be willing to do a shift on payment to K-12, and I know the Blue Ribbon Commission is saying that they could tax cigarettes, and they could, I think Dayton also said to raise the taxes on medical care, the tax that we have for the medical care that we have. And I'm not hearing very much, maybe what I'm hearing is biased, I'm not hearing very much about the Republicans moving. And I know that the Republicans are standing for a no tax increase, but you know, maybe when crises happen, you just have to change things a little bit. We really need to solve this problem, so please do what you can.
Yes, Representative Downey. My name is Charlie Bloss. I do live in Edina, and I'm here this evening, and I'm disappointed that you're not here. It was a very interesting meeting. I wish you could have, well, you will hear it because it was recorded. But I would also like to know if you'd be available to have another meeting as soon as possible, town hall type of meeting where people could, unfortunately I missed the information on yesterday's meeting and didn't hear that until tonight. I would welcome the opportunity to come to another session where you would be present and available to the comments of your constituents. I urge you to please do what you can to reach a compromise on this, the issues that provide the state and that are log jamming the budget at the present time. As far as the no new taxes, I think that's a pretty absolute position, and it doesn't really help or aid any compromise. So I don't know how a solution can come about as long as the Republicans stand firmly behind no new taxes, which has been the legacy, of course, of Valenti in the last 8 years and the last 2 years since. So please do what you can to help the people that are being impacted severely by the state shutdown. Thank you.
Court, and I'm also a MnDOT employee. I work for Building Services over in St. Paul in the MnDOT building. Of course, I have watched this closely because it has impacted my income and my vacation and my health care and pretty much everything about my summer. And I'm sure it's affecting some of you that way as well. I agreed to read this information that was provided to me because I think it does succinctly outline some of what has been going on. And I know we all have different points of view and different opinions, but I'd just like an opportunity to reiterate where I believe MAPE, which is my professional union, feels this impasse is heading. Yesterday was the 6th day of this painful shutdown, and unfortunately the legislative leadership has left no room in sight for the hope of a swift conclusion. The impasse continues to be caused by the Republican leadership's refusal to accept new revenues, and Representative Downey is a member of that leadership, regardless of the continual compromise offers the governor has made. Yesterday, Governor Dayton offered 2 new balanced compromise solutions to the legislative leadership. At the conclusion of their meeting, he was told that the Republican caucuses would discuss the proposals, but they instead went to a press conference immediately to reject the governor's proposals. These 2 proposals make now 7 that Governor Dayton has made this year to try to prevent or end this shutdown. Governor Dayton has reduced the size of his budget, given up on his original surcharge for those making over $500,000 a year, given up his property tax on homes valued over $1 million, which I know affects many of us in this room, cut his revenue proposal in half, and increase the fourth tier of taxable incomes to over $1 million a year, and even has taken his tax plan off the table in an effort to prevent a shutdown. In response, our governor has been met by Representative Downey and his colleagues who refuse to move off of their original proposal. When Governor Dayton has shown that he is invested in solving the problem, they've responded with extremism and hostility. One legislator called for Governor Dayton to resign. Instead of offering compromise, Representative Downey's leadership submitted a radical list of anti-worker demands, not related to the fiscal issues at hand. They want to weaken the teachers' collective bargaining rights, lower construction workers' wages, and lay off 15% of state workers, me included, permanently. A tax on unions and the middle class won't solve the state's financial problems and should be off the table. When you take into account constant hostility toward compromise, you have to ask, how much compromise does Representative Downey need before he realized that the governor and the DFL has moved toward the balanced approach that Minnesotans demand? The balanced approach we are demanding asks all Minnesotans to pay their fair share. Most of us in this room pay 12% of our income in state and local taxes. Millionaires apparently only pay 9%. I applaud Governor Dayton for agreeing to some budget cuts and for remaining firm that we cannot rely on cuts alone. For example, it is simply a reality that more Minnesotans are aging. By insisting on a cuts-only budget, Representative Downey is refusing to acknowledge the reality that more Minnesotans will need for long-term care because more Minnesotans are becoming elderly. We cannot change that reality with radical budget cuts. I believe Minnesota is shut down because Representative Downey supports a budget plan that protects millionaires and attacks the middle class. It is time for Representative Downey to choose a compromise plan that supports the middle class, most of whom are my neighbors in this room. He can choose a compromise that won't raise our taxes. Eventually, we are all going to feel the pain of budget cuts in these difficult times, but it is unfortunate that Representative Downey would not ask the richest among us to pay their fair share too. Please join me as one of your neighbors in asking Representative Downey to end the shutdown, to create jobs, and to compromise now for a budget that will make Minnesota work again. Thank you.